Hello, Internet. How are you? Today I'm joined again by Emilio at noon for a nooner
nooner.
with Emilio. That just makes it sound like we're gonna have sex.
Nooner with
Or
Dale.
is,
That
or is that
sounds
just
better.
me? Like, am I the only one who was ever like, hey, you want to have a nooner?
Yeah, that's just you.
Oh, okay. Because I wrote nooner with Emilio in the text, and I was like, everybody's going to think we're having sex because of that obvious joke I've only ever made with myself that everybody knows about. It's funny because there's all these like references I get, and I'm like, is that a me joke or do other people get that too? And then it's like sometimes other people get it, or sometimes someone else will make a joke that I thought only I would get, and then it's just so much more funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of those times though where I think you found it funny and nobody else did.
So every podcast?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the way it works. Sorry if I'm a bit froggy, everybody. I'm coming down with a little something. I don't think it's COVID. Can't be sure. I got tested last week. I was negative, so I don't know. But yeah, I think I'm just getting like a seasonal cold because it's fucking cold in Vancouver right now. It's only 4 degrees, which is not no bueno for October. How cold is it where you are?
So this is our weird stage of the year. So yesterday it was 75 Fahrenheit, and then today it's 40 Fahrenheit.
What's that in Canadian?
I don't know fake numbers. I don't know.
Okay. Fake numbers. I don't know the international standard where people can easily figure out how cold it is because it's like, I love how Celsius is like, okay, water boils at 100 degrees, water freezes at 0 degrees. And then you're like, those are the two ends of the football field. And then we have increments in between. And then it's like in
The real
Fahrenheit,
way, the real way,
yeah,
it's different.
the real way where Dr. Fahrenheiten or whoever invented it, he was like, okay, so it freezes at minus 18, and I don't know what the fuck it boils at because that's like 300 degrees. Because Fahrenheit has like smaller increments.
Yes, much smaller.
Yeah.
Which is weird because everything else in America is bigger. The people,
Hey,
the
like
problems.
your freedom and their problems. I like how I just threw a dumb joke over your good joke. Yes, there are a lot of people in America who have big problems, and one of those people isn't Chris Pratt because he found out that everybody fucking loves Chris Pratt except for some whiny babies on the internet. So basically, if you weren't paying attention, you probably saw it on your Twitter timeline. And if you're not on Twitter, I don't know why you listen to a podcast where we mainly talk about Twitter. But what happened was, oh, I should pull this up because what happened was Chris Pratt made a voting joke about the what was it, the Teen Choice Awards
Yeah, it was Teen Choice. Yeah,
for the cartoon movie. He made a
yeah. Onward.
yeah, Onward. Did you see Onward?
I did.
It's pretty good.
It's actually a really good
Um,
movie.
who was the other guy in it? Who was the older brother?
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, he was the older
No,
brother,
he was
wasn't
the
he?
older brother. I don't
Yeah.
know the younger
And
one.
then who was the younger one? Like Andrew
I
Garfield,
don't know.
some skinny fella. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up exactly what he said because I can't remember what he said. So basically, he makes this post for the movie Onward for the Teen Choice Awards, and then everybody lost their poop. Okay, here it is. So he just on Instagram, here I'll show you. He posted the picture of Onward, and then he goes, with all that's going on in the world, it is more important than ever that you vote. Just ask any celebrity. They will tell you every day, several times a day, to vote. But me, I will tell exactly who to vote for. Hashtag onward. The heroes before us did not spill their blood only to have their sacrifices wasted by your apathy. The upcoming 2020 People's Choice Awards is the most consequential vote in the history of mankind times a million infinity. Vote for Onward, your family movie of the year, or else you will die. No hyperbole. Click the link in my bio. Let your voice be heard. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
Like he's
I thought it was good.
like at one, he's making fun of other celebrities, which is always a well that'll never empty. That well will never go dry because celebrities are
Right.
obnoxious. And then he's kind of belittling your guys' election with Trump and stuff. I don't think he was talking about the provincial election here in BC because I'm not sure he's very aware of it. I would be very surprised if Chris Pratt knew who John Horgan was. But yeah, I read that Instagram post. I was like, ha, 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 ha. Oh, Chris Pratt, you
Right.
lovable hunk, which is
Like, so when I read that, that
yeah.
sounded like his character from Parks and Recreations. I don't know if you ever
Mhm.
saw him in it, but like that's something that his character definitely would have said on that show.
Oh, if you haven't seen Chris Pratt in Parks and Recreation, that's where everybody fell in love with him because he was like a chubby buffoon character
Yeah.
and he was dumb, but like he was basically the dumb character who has a huge heart and everybody just you can't
Yeah.
help but love him how much he fucks up. And then he goes and makes what, Zero Dark 30 or something and he's just fucking ripped to shit and you're like, "Oh, chubby guy
Yeah.
got
Well,
sexy."
did you know how that happened though? Like how he got in shape? He
Um
actually he actually wanted to become like an actual movie actor. He didn't want to do TV shows anymore.
yeah.
And like 4 or 5 directors that he talked to, they were like, "Yeah, we can't use you, dude. Like, you'd be cool for like a B movie comedy."
Or the
He's like,
best friend role.
"Right," and they were like, "We know, but there's no way you'll ever be able to be a star with the way that you look. Like, as mean as that sounds." He was like, "Well, fuck that. I'm gonna go work out 6 days a week for the next year, and I'll be
Mhm.
back." And he did.
6 days a week?
Yeah,
Whew. That's why I don't go into the movies.
yeah, that's why.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, he got fucking ripped and now he's like super famous. Like he's got like he's in the MCU as Guardians of the Galaxy. And then he's in
Star
Jurassic
Lord.
Park. Yeah, he's Star Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy and he's in Jurassic Park series. He's been in what, two or three now?
Jurassic Parks, at least 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jurassic Park: The New World, and then the sequel to The New World. Which, oh my God, did you see the sequel to The New World, like the second one with Chris Pratt?
I saw both Jurassic Worlds that he was in.
Yeah. Remember when they're fucking leaving the island and that brontosaurus stands up and then like fucking gets engulfed with flames from the volcano? I cried like a little
Did
bitch.
you cry? I bet you
Yeah,
cried.
dude, like a
I
brontosaurus dying. That's
so
like a
I
puppy.
cheered. I cheered because dinosaurs dying is good for me because I fight for oil. So
Well,
I
no,
need, I need their fossils.
because what you want is you don't want them to get burnt up because that's all their fat and organic material, all that beautiful oil just gets wasted. You want them to
Well,
like
it
die of
depends.
natural causes and then get
Right.
squished.
No, what I want is for them to be engulfed by the volcanic ash, and then it preserves them. That's what I want.
Oh, is that how the oil gets made? I mean, I should have talked to you first because
Like
you're
their bodies have to be preserved in order to turn into fossils.
okay. I thought it was just like they died and then they got squished between the earth layers. But I guess what you're saying, like if they didn't get preserved, all the fat would have just like rotted away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm surprised? You know how everybody's always talking about how like the Jurassic Park thing where they actually made dinosaurs? I'm surprised they haven't cloned dinosaurs just to make oil out of them.
You didn't see that? There was a thing on, I don't know if it was Facebook or Twitter. I don't remember which one I saw it on. It was like a year ago. And there was actually a scientist somewhere that they were like, "Yeah, we think that in the next year or two we'll be able to recreate what we thought were dinosaurs." And it was funny because somebody commented on it. That's the reason I saw it. Somebody commented and they were like, "There's literally an entire movie series as to why that's a bad idea."
Yeah. Um, you're going like louder and quieter. Do you know? You're going
I
through your
don't.
phone, right? Oh,
Yeah.
do you have earbuds or something you could throw in? Like I think it's just because your phone has like an auto leveling, so it's like
Um,
I don't know. I after last week with all those internet problems, I'm just like jaded. So
right. No,
I
I
just
feel
want to
you.
make sure that we don't run into troubles. I mean, you're coming in way better than Dave was when he was stuttery.
Is that different now?
I mean, well, the problem is it's good, and then for like 3 seconds it'll go down, and then it'll go back up. Like this is your sound levels. It's like brrr, and there's like
Is it
brrr.
when I back away?
Yeah, I think it is. It's because like, yeah, give us a
I'll,
little
I'll just
closer.
I'll
Yeah,
stay real close.
let's get intimate for this nooner, eh, buddy?
All right, here, I'll just be like this.
Okay, there you go.
That way.
Ooh, arms crossed. That's how I know your opinions are well researched and matter a lot. Okay, so sorry to digress, but let's get back to you were saying that a scientist last year said, "Hey, we're gonna make dinosaurs," and then someone said it was bad.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
like, "Have you not watched any movie
hmm
involving dinosaurs where things just don't ever go right?"
I'll tell you how to stop from doing that. Don't let the dinosaurs have sex with frogs, because that's what happened in Jurassic Park. So the first Jurassic Park, the whole problem was
No, they
they
use the frog's DNA to fill in the chromosomes that they couldn't figure out.
no, Emilio, they
All
made
the
the
dinosaurs are
dinosaurs.
female,
Then the
and what happened
dinosaurs had
was
sex with frogs.
no.
Did we watch two different Jurassic Parks?
We missed that. I don't know how the Canadian version was.
Oh, I was watching Jurassic
Good.
Pork, where people dressed up as dinosaurs were having sex with people who dressed up as frogs. No, yeah, but the problem
When you say
was,
Jurassic Park, all I think of is a pig with spikes.
oh my god, how delicious would a half dinosaur, half pig be? Like
I don't know.
Tyrannosaurus bacon?
I've always wanted to have a brontosaurus burger.
Yeah.
Ever since I saw Flintstones, I was like, I'm gonna have one of those.
Stega pork chops, Stegosaurus pork chops. Try Sarah pork chops. I'm gonna stop. Those puns are just too many syllables.
Well, like there are tri-tip steaks. So I mean,
Oh shit! There you go. But that would be beef. Mm. Oh my god! Like dinosaur cows that you could milk. Dinosaur milk. That'd be good. Are you already getting in trouble? We're only like 10 minutes in. Tell her she's good after
Yeah,
me.
well, he told me he was going to ask you to reschedule it.
Oh,
and we
did
did
he?
for noon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we rescheduled for noon. My time.
You're getting your nails done, so I was like, I should be gone a while.
Uh-huh.
Did-
You were helping them.
Helping them, I did everything else.
This is the podcast material everybody loves. So you're in the doghouse
Yeah,
now. So you're in trouble. So maybe you do want to come across the border for that nooner.
might have to.
Eyebrows. I'd wink, but I'm not physically capable of winking. That's how I have to wink. I have to use my whole face.
You gotta exaggerate it.
Yeah, I'm like Laurel and Hardy winking, being like, "There, I did it." Oh,
That's not good.
that made my forehead itchy. Yeah, it's the only reason I can't pick up more women is because I can't wink. It's just like the acting thing. I
Speaking of
can't.
that, how's she doing?
She's
I haven't seen
good.
her. I haven't seen her in a while. Like, have you let her out of the basement recently?
We don't have a basement. No, she's good. She's in the next room. She I don't know. She said when you talk, she's always warning me. She's like, "When you talk on your podcast, don't say anything racist because people know we're dating." And I'm like, I don't ever say anything racist. Plus, Emilio can't be racist because he's not white, right?
I think that's how it works.
Yeah. You're like my free pass. Anyways, how are we going to be racist if we're talking about Chris Pratt and how everybody loves him? This is the most convoluted, like, actor fluff piece we've ever done on this podcast. So, anyways, back to Chris Pratt. Unless you want to talk about dinosaurs humping, because your girl kind of
No,
just stepped right on my jokes. But I think everybody was like, real time watching Dale trying to make dinosaur meat puns is excruciating. So they're probably all happy she came in and gave you shit. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty
probably.
sure Sean in the comments is happy with it.
Is he watching?
Yeah, he's watching. He just checked in. He said, "Hey." Then he said his wife was calling us idiots too. Hey, we're universal. The best part is this is probably the most women who've ever watched this podcast at once.
Yeah, it happens.
Oh
It
yeah.
happens pretty often, actually.
Okay, so what happened was like the last or the I guess the outrage about Chris Pratt wasn't exactly from that specific post that I already read, but it was from someone on Twitter was like, blah blah blah, Chris Pratt, because he's like a religious guy and he's always talking about how much like God makes his life better and all that bullshit
Right.
that people who are religious talk about. That you're like, yeah, I guess. I mean, if you're a happy person and you're not being mean to other people, we'll accept it as long as you're not trying to fucking do any more crusades, which I hope your religion got out of their system. So he's like, he's
I'm
always
always
like,
down for a crusade. I'd be down
depends.
for it, especially if they do it like they did back then.
Oh yeah, like
I'll,
with
I'll, take it.
swords and shit.
I will be on full on chainmail and everything. Oh yeah.
All I have to say is I'm too old to be conscripted for this crusade. So yeah, go for it. All I'm saying is wearing chainmail in the desert is not something I could see is going on. Because you were there. You were like in being a soldier in like desert conditions. Could you imagine wearing like chainmail and a full suit of armor in that? It would have been so much more hot.
Be way worth it though.
Yeah,
It would have
I
made it so much
guess.
more worth it.
Yeah,
We had to storm into a village in full on night gear.
yeah.
They would have no idea what's coming. They'd be so confused. It's an
Yeah,
instant win.
but you wouldn't have night gear because you'd have to wear like what they had back in the crusade times.
Right, which is like just like knights. Like
Yeah.
you're in shiny armor and chainmail.
Yeah, but they don't have night vision back then.
No, not night vision. I said night gear, like just like a knight.
Oh, I for some reason I thought you said night vision. Whatever. So anyway, this is why we call this Tangent Factory, because it's just like they're like, hey, let's make an offensive joke that that gets people angry, and then we just go off in that direction. So Chris Pratt, he's white and religious, so obviously there's a huge
Already
I mean,
hated yet.
Garrett, like, I'm not saying that they shouldn't hate them, because white religious people in the past, like, i.e., those crusades we were talking about, are gigantic dicks.
Yeah, they were
Anyways,
really very nice.
yeah. Anyway, so people just kind of whatever, and they're like, "Who's your least favorite Chris in the Marvel universe?" And they put Chris Evans, Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth, who's Thor. Who's the fourth? I don't know. There's a fourth Chris. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. And anyways, everybody was like, Chris Pratt is the worst. And then like pretty much every actor from the MCU, even Josh Brolin, who recently jumped on after, everyone's like, quit talking shit about Chris Pratt. He's a fucking gem. We love him. He's our teddy bear. And it's like, it's funny because it's like, there's this thing like with the whole Me Too thing and like the whole like Me Too part B, the racism thing where everybody gets outed for being racist. It always seems like someone will have like people will be like, oh, like 10 years ago this guy did this, and everyone's like, well, why are you talking about now? And it's because if somebody did something bad and he only did it to one person, nobody really cares. But if that person is actually hated, then everybody starts to pile on. Like Weinstein. Is it Weinstein? Yeah, he's like,
Weinstein.
yeah, he's a piece of shit. So it just everybody's like, oh yeah, I fucking hate that guy. So they all piled on. But when you have Chris Pratt, it's like he's just a fucking gem in real life, and somebody will say something bad. It'll be like, oh no, you don't. That's our fucking nice guy. He's the
Yeah,
nice
but
guy.
that's a problem though when it comes to mob mentality. Like a lot of people that are so angry at these people don't even know why they're mad at them. It's just because it's popular.
Oh yeah, they're like the social network or the social media told me to be mad at you, so I'm mad at you. It's like saying Chris Pratt is a jerk. It's like pineapple on pizza. It's like, yeah, some of you hate it, but everybody who says they hate it on Twitter doesn't actually hate it. You're just trying to be cool with social media. It's like,
Yeah, it's just trending.
yeah, it's the bacon effect. It's like, yeah, bacon's good, but it's not as good as everybody was saying it was like 4 years ago when they're like, I'll kill someone for bacon. And
I
we're
mean,
like,
I would.
wow. I mean, prove me wrong. I guess bacon was as popular as everybody said it was. It's horrifically bad for you with all that sodium and fat. So if you eat it too long, it's just going to give
Beer,
you a
bacon,
jammer.
and boobs. That's it. That's all you need.
Do you have a magical spell cast on you that you don't get fat and have heart attacks? Because if you do, I'm down with that diet as well. Well, me personally, I have problems with bacon because I have the gout, which I may have mentioned once or twice on this podcast. And bacon's not like one of the bad foods you're not supposed to eat, but anything with sodium causes your body to not process water the same way. So it like
Right.
it's kind of like a compounding thing for gout. So that's why I hate bacon.
Mm.
Yeah. But anyways, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Chris. This is a good start. I mean, if it took us 20 minutes to talk about Chris Pratt, you might as well tell your girl that the party's canceled because we're going to take all day to get through the subjects.
All right.
Sean says bacon's keto, and I know Sean's on a keto diet since he looks so slim and trim in those pictures nobody's ever seen of him. Oh yeah. If nobody knows, me and Emilio met on like, what do you call those things? Like gamer chats where you like talk to people on Facebook Messenger and you play video games with over Xbox Live.
Xbox. Like we just
Yeah.
met on Xbox. It's pretty simple.
You and me met through our mutual friend Dan Rothery. He was like, "Hey Dale, come to this chat. You say shit that's offensive. These guys say shits that's offensive. You'll all get along." And then we did. So
I think you were a little surprised though.
I mean, I was maybe surprised, but then I was already half dead inside, so I loved it. So we started talking, and Sean's just another guy who from that same chat, and he's talking in the comments if anybody wants to know the historical background of Sean Davey on our NPR
As I say,
podcast.
compared to the rest of us, none of us are offensive if he's in the chat because he outshines everybody in the being offensive.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's like, he says something, and you're like, oh, I'm not gonna tell people who aren't in the chat how funny that was because they'll think I'm a murderer. Okay, so yeah, Chris Pratt's a gem. You can tell he's actually a nice guy by how willing to go to bat all of his friends are for him. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say.
Yes.
I mean, it's a cliche, so it should be like pretty easy to say. I mean, even Don Cheadle and like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans and aforementioned Josh Brolin and just pretty much everybody. I mean, I haven't heard anything from Dave Bautista, and he's pretty outspoken about his opinions on people. Like, how at bat he went for James Gunn. That was nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So,
but he's not wrong though either in that tweet he put out because like I don't remember was the guy Gervais?
James Gunn?
No, it's he's a British actor.
Oh, he played Ricky Gervais.
So did you ever see the video of him?
Sorry?
Yeah, did you ever see his the video of him doing his opening speech for the award ceremony that he hosted?
Oh yeah, he just fucking
he just told everybody
people up.
Shut up, accept your award, say your thank yous. Don't give any political views. Don't give any advice. Nobody needs to hear it. Nobody gives a shit because your view really isn't that important. Get your award and get the fuck off stage. Like, and I love that. So much. So I mean, Chris Pratt. I feel like that was like the nice guy version of the same speech. That's what I thought that was. So I mean, like. He's not wrong. Like every celebrity seems to think that just because people know their name, that their opinion is super relevant, and it's not. I mean, I don't give a shit what Scarlett Johansson thinks about politics. I don't care.
I mean, I just want to dial that back because I feel like my opinions are super important. And I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time, but I'm not famous. People don't know my name, so I guess that's the loophole. It's like you can have outlandish opinions that you think are self-important as long as you're not famous.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of religious people, one of the other things I wanted to talk to, because you were excited to talk about the subject of this 150-year-old church in New Jersey. Like, I have a confession to make to everybody on here. I am politically, just a bit left of center. So since I'm close to the middle, I feel like I can follow both sides of the political spectrum on Twitter. And one of the people I follow that I've never told anyone is Ann Coulter. Because even though she's crazy right-wing and says dumb shit, some of the times the dumb shit is funny. And one of the things she said was she posted a link to this news story about this New Jersey city or this New Jersey church that was getting sold to a private developer. And she said something to a joke about Antifa, hold my beer for this developer, which
Yeah.
whatever. But then she linked it to a story. She linked it to a tweet that someone else tweeted to the story. Okay, so when I said that she linked a story to the church story, I was wrong. She linked it to someone else who linked the church story, and that guy said they're going to rip down this church for social housing. So much hate. And I was like, what? I got to read about this. And then I read the story, and it's like there's this 145-year-old church in New Jersey, and the city sold it to a private developer, and he's not going to like. It's not knowing what he's going to do. He's like, he basically bought the church. He's like, yeah, I promise I won't rip down the church, but he's going to redevelop like the parking lot and the little shitty house that the pastor usually lives in.
Right.
Church. And obviously people who like old buildings and God are losing their shit because they're like, you can't just sell a fucking church privately. We want tax money to pay for this church to keep it up going because it's super old and inefficient at paying at like holding heat and holding its bills. So we're mad about this. So right now they basically passed that he can buy it for $1 million, which
Did you read his application?
no, I did. I read. Do I look like a guy who reads applications?
So on his application,
yeah.
So on his application, he listed what it is that he wants to do and how he wants to change.
Mhm.
Like, according to his application, like, I mean, obviously, you can say whatever you want in order to get what you want. Once you got it, though, I mean, there's nothing really stopping you from doing something different. But
Yeah.
what he said on the application was he wants to. So essentially, the church itself and the small house next to it are technically two different lots. Like it's if you go, he said if you go to like if you go to the local courts and you pull up blueprints and everything and you pull up the actual the land plots, the church and the house are different. They're not on the same land per
Yeah.
se. He said so all he wants to do is purchase them, make them one, and then remodel the actual housing that is already there.
Okay.
That's all he wants to do. And he said, like, so because like there's one parking spot for the church that is actually there's a parking spot for the church and a parking spot for the house, and the center of those parking spots where they meet is
hold on.
actually divided.
You're gonna have to do the cross arms moving closer for this. This
My bad.
important talk that I don't want you to keep going up and down
Is that
because
better?
you went through the effort of reading the application this guy put into the city, which is more effort than I put in, and I greatly appreciate it. So I don't want it to get lost because I'm not gonna go fucking read an application this guy put in.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's a bit better. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So
Continue upstaging me on my own podcast, please.
all right. So there's a parking spot for the church and there's a parking spot for the actual housing.
Yeah.
Where those two parking spaces meet is exactly where the line between the two properties is. So all he wants to do is create one big parking lot, tear down that house,
Yeah.
move it like 3 feet closer to the church, and now that technically it will become one whole plot of land. They'll be combined.
Oh, so he's basically what
He
people
does
did 150 years ago, he's redoing so it makes more sense and is more efficient for this modern times. And the people who are
Correct.
freaking out about this didn't read the
All they
application
hear
properly.
and all they're hearing is he's tearing something down. That's all that they're hearing.
Yeah.
And he's not touching the church. At least that's what he says. He's not going to touch the church.
Oh yeah, that's
All
what
he
he
wants to do
says.
Right. All he wants to do is turn this into one piece of property, because then it's a lot harder for anybody to fuck with it.
Yeah. Okay, you're
You know
doing
what I
the
mean?
thing again. You're doing the thing again.
My bad.
Yeah. I don't.
Because I get into it, and I'm like,
Yeah, you're like you want to lean back so you could talk like an Italian. Be like, hey, my hands. Is that racist? Oh wait, does your like not white pass count for Italians too?
I mean, I am part Italian.
Oh, there you go. Bing bang boom. That's also
There's a free pass.
This is the most problematic podcast we've ever had. And it's only because I'm talking about Italians moving their hands when they talk, which is a fact. I mean, watch
But
Joey
yeah,
Diaz.
so like the thing is
Oh, wait, he's not Italian.
people all they're hearing is he's tearing something down, and
Yeah.
he must have tear the house down and rebuild it, which it's a fucking house. So what?
Can I do a very problematic, not regionally accurate accent to the people who are complaining about this?
Yeah, let's hear that Jersey accent.
He's ripping down God's house. We did God's house. That is like I was gonna do a southern. That was like fucking. That went to the Jersey. That's it. That was so bad.
That was like Walmart Jersey.
That was easily the worst accent I've ever done on this podcast.
Oh man, I don't know what that was, but it was not.
Oh, Lord. So basically they're like, that's God's house. We need that building. Otherwise, God won't bless us with all of his love. That was closer.
It was exactly the same.
Was it? Okay, anyway. So people are all upset because they just think he's going to fucking demolish this building. And
he's not. That's not what he wants to do. He doesn't.
Yeah.
So again, I can't say what he wants to do. What he has said he's going to do is the house is going to come down and be rebuilt closer to the church, creating one giant plot of land, which is then it's easier to control and own. And then it's just from there. He's probably going to, honestly, what I think he's going to do, he's going to do that, create one plot of land, which will then double that plot's value because now it's bigger.
Yeah.
And then he's going to sell it.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I think
I love how 50 years ago, if this guy was going to do this exact plan, he'd be a hero because he's saving the church by making it more efficient and easier to run and stuff. But now people are like, people are so just fucking like scarred. They're like, everybody who's going to do something is lying to us and they're just going to do the worst possible thing, which, I mean, if you just look at all the stuff that's happened lately, they're justified.
It's also in New Jersey. So, I mean, I don't know how much you know about the education level of different states in the United States.
Well, you heard my New Jersey accent, so obviously
pretty
I
low
don't know anything about it. I know comedians who live in New York joke about New Jersey a lot. Yeah. And that's pretty much where I get all my information about the world is stand-up comedians on podcasts. Yeah. Yeah. So, what I was going to say, what I think he should do is in Vancouver. I don't know how you guys, do you have heritage buildings and stuff? You're in Ohio, right?
Yep.
So here in Vancouver, when you have heritage buildings, I don't know, they found some sort of loophole. So if there's like a heritage building downtown and they're like, we have to save the facade of this historical building. So developers will just they'll save like the front wall and they'll just tear everything down behind it and then just build a new building. So it'll have just like this much thick of the old historical building. So what they should do with this church is
so it appears authentic until you walk through there.
Yeah, exactly. So what they should do with this building is they should make this like weird steampunk, like classical church themed apartment building and just keep the front wall of it. And that's the entranceway into the lobby. And then they could have like this huge lobby with like the pews and the stained glass and stuff as a theme. And then you go up to the apartments, which are all still church themed. And it looks like a confession booth and it comes with a priest who touches you.
You know what they could do? Just turn it into an orphanage. That way they got all kinds of kids on in stock.
And then they could still have the same priest I was talking about. Do you like the elaborate fucking route I took just to put in a cheap priest touching people joke? That's the only reason.
For one small destination.
The payoff though. Oh, which reminds me, I know I take shit for liking Louis C.K. a lot because he like jerked off in front of women, and no other person on the face of the earth who is a male has ever asked a woman to jerk off in front of her. So we're all disgusted by his behavior because
Right.
we've never done that. So, but he had this. Well, the reason I ever found out about Louis C.K. back in the day was he has this YouTube video, and it's like a 10-minute mockumentary, and it's called The Truth of the Catholic Church, and it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. So everybody go watch that, and you can cancel me later because I still think Louis C.K. is funny. Whew. Okay, so I guess I'm just trying to think of a like I always pride myself on my segues, so I'm trying to think of a segue that goes from like a priest touching kids to the moon. I don't think there's a segue that does that.
I mean, according to Christians, both are fabricated.
The moon's fake?
Going to the moon is apparently.
Oh fuck. I mean, I like how one of my favorite memes
If you ask the Catholics,
yeah.
we never went to the moon, and priests don't touch babies. So
Well,
I mean,
yeah, dinosaurs didn't exist. So it's like if you're a religion and you tell me dinosaurs don't exist, I'm out.
Otherwise.
Sorry?
I said the engine in my car says otherwise because it's full
Yeah,
of oil.
valid point. My favorite meme is when people are like, they said the Earth landing in 1965 was faked, and then they show like CGI from like 10 years ago, and it just looks like dog shit, and you're like, well, how did they fake it then?
Right.
And then someone was like,
did you see when Neil Armstrong punched that dude in the face?
That was awesome. Could you imagine the shame you would have in your body knowing that you ate a right straight from like an 85-year-old man?
From a fucking national hero who's here in diapers?
Yeah, like could you imagine you're like, I'm gonna fucking put this guy on blast, and then you say, swear on this Bible, and he's just like fucking bam right in the mouth, and you're like, oh,
a straight right jab to his jaw. I was like, oh yeah, he still got it.
And the guy who has probably been on a computer his whole life could not take it. I mean, like, oh yeah, Sean's right. It wasn't Neil Armstrong. It was Buzz Aldrin. Thanks, Sean.
It was Buzz Aldrin that punched him. You're right. Yep, he's right.
So
Sean, you're right one time. Oh no.
Yeah. Oh no.
Get this guy a ribbon.
That makes it so unfunny that an 85-year-old guy of a different name punched some fucking nerd in the mouth. Okay, so the reason that the moon came up in my topics on Twitter feed was NASA's like, hey y'all, we're gonna have I think they made this announcement on Tuesday. They're like, they probably didn't say hey y'all because they're not from New Jersey. They said, hello, everybody who is smart on the internet. We are going to make a big scientific statement on Monday about the moon. And everybody's like, just fucking tell us now, NASA. This is the internet. Next Monday might as well be like 10 fucking years from now. It's like we're fucking entertainment starved with COVID. We need stuff now. So
like, honestly, when that came out, the way 2020 is going, I thought they were going to say like, they found a bomb up there or something.
Yeah.
Or like something bad.
Yeah. Oh, and then
it was gonna be bad news. That's what I assumed.
And then I was like, well, what's going on with the moon? And someone else on my Twitter line was like, it's cracked. And I was like, the moon's cracked? And then it's something that we've known. This is me basically discovering all this stuff that everybody else knew about the moon that I didn't hear about because I'm not a NASA geek. But anyway, so the moon is cracked. And then I was like, well, since we're waiting till Monday to hear about what NASA's going to say, obviously, let's just make up conspiracy theories about what they're going to talk about. So this is what I think's happening. Because Donald Trump made the Space Force, which I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It's the greatest move Donald Trump ever made because we should be in space. Because if we're going electric, like everybody's leaning towards, which is a bad idea, because the carbon footprint of making electric cars is worse than gas cars. But I don't want to get into it because nerds don't want to hear that. Well, it's basically when you have an electric car up until 160,000 kilometers or I don't know, just like what, 20 miles for American speak. Up until you get to 160,000, the carbon footprint of the electric car is more than a gas car. So it's
Right.
basically you have to own an electric car 10 years before.
I mean, look at all the fracking they got to do in order to get those batteries.
Yeah. So basically, one of the reasons why the carbon footprint of electricity is so bad is all these things they call rare earth elements, which aren't actually that rare. They just say that so they can charge more. It's like the whole diamond thing. Oh my God. Anyways, so I naturally, being a person who's been around and seen what China and USA have done in the last decade, I was like, rare earth elements on the moon, Google search. And it's like, they're all up on the moon. So I was like, well, obviously, China was fucking around up on the dark side of the moon where we couldn't see like a year and a half ago. And they found
Right.
green gel, which nobody
Yeah.
told me, nobody
They were
talked about.
drilling.
What?
They were drilling, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what I think happened was China. I mean, you can't blame them for them. They're turning into a capitalist. They're doing that like they're in that magical grace period right now where they're going from communist to capitalist. So they still have all like the forced labor and terrible humane treatment, plus all the profit of a capital society. And they kind of just like, ooh, like could you imagine owning a business in China where you like pay people $10 an hour, but you get all the profit that you would in North America? Like that's why they're so rich. Anyways, so these
They have
guys,
their cake and eating it too.
yeah. So I mean, it only makes sense to go get this stuff off the moon. So you go up to the other side, which so nobody could see from Earth with their telescopes and stuff. And then they build a drilling rig or whatever those things are called, and they drill into the moon, and then they crack it. Which, I mean, maybe they hit like the mantle underneath the surface, and it just like ruptured something or blah blah blah. And I think that's what happened. But I want to know what this fucking green gel is. Like,
Or
yeah,
maybe the moon is alive.
how
It could be a living thing.
what? No, no, that's we're not going into hippie conspiracy theories. We're like it's Gaia's. Is it okay? How's this? If the moon is
Maybe the moon's
alive,
breathing.
is it male or female? Tell assume the gender of the moon.
Yeah. It's 2020. It can be whatever it wants.
That's true. So I mean, it could be alive. Like if you think about the way alive organisms work and stuff, then the Earth could be alive, and we're all parasites. And you think about that and all the energy that comes through it and stuff, and we're all built to space dust. And you're the last person I thought that would take us into this hippie woo-woo angle there, Emilio. Now I totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so that's what I think happened. So one of the reasons I brought up the Space Force before, and the reason I think it's good is because basically the next war for resources is going to be in space, which I'm all for. Like if you're going to go fight over like stuff to make stuff with, go do that. It's like when your parents are like, if you guys are going to fight, go outside. Like if you're going to go fight wars and shit, go in space. Immediately it's way cooler because you get space age technology and fucking
Yeah, but
laser guns and
if it's
shit.
not like Star Wars, I don't want it.
Yeah. I mean, what do you mean like a Western in space? What if it's like, I think it'll be more like Star Trek,
I think it's gonna be
which
pretty good with Spaceballs.
Spaceballs. You know what I realized the other day? That it's the irony of Star Trek is like crazy because the whole thing is like a paramilitary future propaganda. Like you think about it, like the Federation is basically the military, and you got to go to Starfleet Academy, which would be military school. And if you don't go through the military school, then you don't get a job. So it's basically like you have to go through the military to become a citizen to live in this society.
I'm
I
down
think,
for it.
yeah, like I mean, keep the earth nice because this is where we all got to live and take down global warming and I don't know, make nature nice and go like maybe not the moon because that would actually fuck up the earth if you break it because it like the gravity pull of the moon and it's like magnetosphere and stuff actually helps the earth stay cool and stuff and affects the tides and a whole bunch of science bullshit that I didn't read. I mean, if I didn't read this guy's application for the New Jersey church, there's no way I'm reading scientific papers on how the moon affects the tides of the earth. So, like, so you're like a military guy. I wanted to ask you this because it's like Trump was like, we need the space military because that's when the next war is going to happen. And like, as anybody can kind of guess, as soon as like anything that the government says, we're already like 10 years in the future of that. So it's like, if he says we might have to fight a war in the skies or in space, you're like, well, if he says we might in the future, that means we probably already are. What do you think
Right.
about that?
So so like for me, whenever anything like that is ever put out there, I assume it's been going on for 5 to 10 years already.
Yeah.
And it's gotten, the only reason why it's getting put out there is because it's reaching a point to where they know it's going to get out anyways.
Mhm.
So they just want to head it off.
Yeah.
Like
Maybe
they
this has.
would rather
Sorry.
they would rather let us know than for it to be leaked.
Yeah. Because if they let it leak, then it looks like they don't have control of what's going on.
Correct.
And they're trying to keep secrets from us. And one thing all of us gossipy regular people hate is fucking secrets.
Well, it's like, think about it. Controlling information controls the masses.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that reminds me. My friend Adrian, who was on a couple weeks ago, and we always talk conspiracies. He sent me this thing, and in the 1920s, this like science guy for the States came up with this theory that regular people aren't smart enough to handle all the information that comes at them, and it just like it. If you think about it that way, like regular people can't handle or aren't smart enough to handle like all of the information about what's actually going on with the world and stuff because it's like one, it's dark, two, it's like too entangled and like you have to read applications for churches and stuff like that and we're all too lazy. So he basically said we have to get like, and he was the guy who basically invented like the public relations for the government stuff, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense. So if you look at it from that way, like even the release, fucking, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. I realize I am, but I'm just trying to like,
I'm trying to keep pace, but like you keep like
yeah,
dodging left and
yeah, I keep being like, oh, then the fucking aliens that the Pentagon released, and then this fucking guy wrote this thing in the 20s, and then back to the New Jersey church thing. So it's just like,
So long story short, yes,
yeah.
I believe that it's been happening already, and the only reason why this is now being made public is because they want to be the ones to say that like we let you know rather than why are you hiding this?
Yeah. And I mean, I said it last time, like if we're gonna have world police, as bad as they are, I'd rather your government be the world police than China or Russia, because both China and Russia aren't really known for letting people have all the rights they want and have lots of fun parties and stuff. I mean, even Britain was terrible world police when they had it. They're like, we'll just go
Yeah,
fucking
but I mean,
everywhere and make colonies.
so are we though.
Yeah, but I'd say the U.S. track record is a little bit better than the British track record.
I don't
Like,
know, man. I mean, think about it. Like Americans like their violence the same way they like their beer, domestic. So, I mean, really the ones to be in charge.
yeah, I mean, I
But I
guess.
don't think so.
Yeah, but it's like you think about it, and it's like, remember
I
when
thought about it.
when Germany wanted to be the world police and like they fought two wars to try get that, and you're like, whoa, guys, you're a little bit too aggressive. You're
Hold on. So, not to be controversial here,
Mhm.
but as far as Germany goes, Hitler had a good idea. He just got a little overly aggressive. His plan
Well,
was actually a really fucking good plan. He just didn't know how to execute it.
well, he should have not had any of the racial stuff, and he would have been good. Like,
Right.
Germany's problem started because basically they wanted to colonize a different country, just like Britain and France, and they're like, give us Belgium, you greedy fucks. Like, you guys have colonies all over the world. We need a seaport, so let's have Belgium. And they're like, and France was like, stay out of Belgium. That's where we get all our fries. So if you come there, we're gonna fuck you up. And then Germany just came and then basically killed 1 million Frenchmen, and then the whole world was like, "Oh shit, Germany means fucking business. We got to get in this fight." And then Britain was like, "Oh, looks like France can't handle themselves," and they kind of like walk in with their crumpets and tea, and then join in the war. And then once like Germany was down on the ground, USA came and just like gave the kill shot and was like, "We won the war," which is good. Because it's like Germany had the best technical equipment during the war, but America had the biggest stuff. Like the American tanks were like way bigger than Germany's little like. It was basically like.
I'm just proud to say that we're back-to-back world champs.
You are basically. I mean, I'll take. I'll be like, hey, we were part of that too. We were mixed in with them and used their equipment because.
All 45 soldiers you guys supplied?
Hey, we supplied more than that. We liberated Holland, I'll have you know.
Holland's like 4 city blocks.
Shh.
There were 10 guys.
Don't take this away, Emilio. This is big.
You can walk through Holland in about 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, Sean just said, what about Nam then? And we're like, that doesn't count. That was an exhibition game. That wasn't regular season.
That was all CGI. That was staged.
That was faker than that green gel that China found on the backside of the moon that we don't talk about. What it was.
Never happened.
Oh, I was like, well, what's this green gel? So I like, sorry to jump back, but I was like, what's this green gel? I got to know, like, is this alien snot and shit? And then they're like, we think it might be, like nano diamonds and stuff from the thrusters and the heat of a meteor. And you're like, this is like that Men in Black swamp gas shit. Like, this couldn't sound more made up. I'll fucking take it, sure. A comet hit the moon and now there's green gel on the moon. Whatever, NASA.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But we'll find out on Tuesday.
Monday. This is still 2 days away. Like, this is already still too long. I think we should make up more conspiracy theories about what's going to be happening there.
The moon's alive.
Okay. I mean, if it somehow benefits me for the moon to be alive, then it's alive. I'm okay with that. I mean, it's weird, like the influence the moon has had through human history, because like if you look at the Bible, going back to religious stuff, like they said blah blah blah, like they, you know how they had like people who lived like 990 years ago. If you count those 999 years as moon cycles, then the person was only 72. So it's like maybe they didn't live 990 years. Maybe they were like looking to the moon as their calendar, because I don't know. So because basically the moon does a cycle every month and it affects the tides. And if you're like a seafaring society, you have more interest in the moon than the sun, because the moon's going to tell you where, I don't know, all this stuff. So it's basically like, oh, it's just another thing we don't know about that it totally affects us. And if something happens to it, can wipe out life on Earth. Great.
I have no idea where you're going with that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I was very concerned because I didn't want to jump in, but I was going to be like, oh yeah, I know what you're saying, because I have no fucking idea.
So basically werewolves exist. Could you imagine if werewolves did exist, and it would just be like, great, another fucking thing rich people get to do that I can't have? What are they driving around in Porsches too?
Who had werewolves for November 2020? Because you won.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if the government was like, oh, we're doing this, we have a vaccine for COVID, but there's a chance it'll turn you into a werewolf, I'd be like, just give them to me until I turn into a werewolf. Because I would be all for that. Yeah, so I guess, do you want to talk about the Zoom thing? Or do you want to just, do you got any more time left, or is your,
cutting pretty close?
We could just call it there. All right, let's talk about the Zoom thing quickly, since I said it and people are like, what are you talking about? So basically,
a guy thought his video was off. Was off.
It was for what? The New York Times?
Yeah, it was a guy that worked for the New York Times. And
they were
in a meeting and they were going on break. And You saw him lower his camera, which I'm assuming is, but I'm assuming he's on a laptop because it's attached to it.
Yeah.
So you see, they said, or the article said that you could see him lower it, and then a few minutes go by or whatever, and next thing you know, it's out and stroking.
Yeah. Like they missed all of the details that I need to know if a guy's accidentally cranking it off. Because one, it's like they said like he lowered it and they thought he was like trying to close it and he thought the video would end. But they also said he jumped on another call with probably whatever he was masturbating about. But I want to know if he was doing that like slow, like I'm not really into this as like a means to an end jerk off session where you go slow and you're just kind of like whatever killing time, or if he was just like I'm gonna fucking bang this out before this other meeting and just like as fast as he could go, like grit your teeth, get it done with. Sorry,
I'm assuming that's what it was.
Yeah.
I think he was just trying to squeeze one in before he go back to work.
Yeah, so what they were doing was they were doing like a mock cover of the election stuff. So basically when newspapers cover elections, they're like going for days and they have all this stuff. So they're probably just talking like all this boring shit, being like, well, would you cover this blah, blah, blah at the blah, blah, blah. And it's just like boring. And this guy's like, man, I wish I could jerk off. He's like, wait. And then the thing is, and one of the things is everybody's like, oh, this is just the boomer not knowing his technology. But I don't think that's what happened. I think what happened was he was jerking off and the thought of being caught added to the danger heightened of the jerking off session. So he knew exactly what he was doing. And he was doing that thing where it's like, oh no, I'll be in so much trouble if somebody catches me. And it just like makes it hotter. So he was probably like trying to jerk off and like, maybe
the excitement of maybe being caught.
Yeah, because he said, because this happens all the time with Zoom videos now. It's like people are like, oh, if I'm not talking and I'm not the person on the screen, then nobody can see what's happening. And it's like, well, the person running the person running the video has all the videos up and it's just the video everybody else sees. So yeah. And it's like, as you could tell from this podcast, sometimes Zoom will just switch back and forth between, like, sometimes when I release the video of this on YouTube, it'll have both videos side by side the whole time. And other times it'll be the person talking pops up and I have no fucking idea how to make sure which one I'm recording because it just jumps back and forth by itself. And yeah, so long story short, I think the guy knew what he was doing and I think he was using it as like a jerk off aid, like that whole like, oh, I'm being naughty type of deal. Because he got on a different call and he could still see the other call or whatever. So he knew
somebody was there and he knew somebody was watching.
So he got suspended. And I don't know. Should we basically just let people have jerk off breaks for these long meetings, or
I think he got a raise.
He already got his raise. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you look like you got to go, so we can end it there. I mean, we can't really.
I got to cut it short this time. I'm sorry.
It's not short. We've already been doing this an hour.
That's true.
But, and I don't think we could fucking top old guy jerking off on a Zoom call anyway. So.
You're probably not.
Yeah. And I'm sorry if I got convoluted with all my conspiracy talk about the moon. If you want to know more about it, approach me personally, and I will let you know extensively any conspiracy theory that I'm growing on by my own that you want to know.
I just feel bad because I know some of the people wanted to hear more stories, but we didn't get to that today.
That's fine.
There's always
tune in next week for more stories.
Yeah.
I mean,
no kidding.
This is a conversation. Conversation. Okay, I'll let you go. Thanks for coming out, Emilio. Thanks for enjoying and letting everybody know, and thanks for listening to my terrible accents. And until next time, stay angry.
I don't
I
like
think-
the shadow in my eyes.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you should have slept more last night then.
Well, if I look down, I guess, look at that.
Yeah, you look like a murderer. But it's good. It's intimidating. So, I guess we're live now. So
No.
yeah, in the comments you were asking about my fish tank. So I'm going to show you. But I'm doing it before the podcast. Or fuck, because the plants are all fucking dying and I feel self-conscious.
Yeah.
But it's like if you turn the light on, the plants like they get light and they do whatever plants do with light. But
Oh,
if
you
you
mean like photosynthesize?
yeah, all that bullshit that you learned about in high school and forgot about. And then if you fucking
I was there. I was there a lot.
I think we all were. And
That
then
was,
if you yeah,
that's a lot closer in my history than it is yours, I think. So if I
Yeah.
remember.
dick. But but if you leave the light on, then all the algae fucking grows. So I'm like, well, obviously I'm a lazy asshole and I don't want to clean the fish tank, so I'll just leave the light on and then the plants died. Or leave the light off and then all the plants died. Plus, it's like whenever I turn the light on, the fish go nuts because when I wake up in the morning, I'll turn the light on and then feed them, so they like think they're getting fed when the light's on.
Oh yeah.
So I don't want to mess with them and hurt their feelings
Why not?
because I'm a nice guy
See, that's where you messed up.
when it comes to fish.
Oh yeah, look, I didn't show you, but I got a new one.
Oh, nice. You should. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's it's a lot of black. Did that fucking hurt or what?
Yeah, the lettering by the wrist hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any on my wrist, but I know it's like whenever you get to either a joint or the end of something, it hurts more.
Yeah, like that shading down there at the bottom of that wrist, that was killer.
Yeah.
That one really hurt.